Hey, look at that. We're getting better at this all the time, ain't we? Make sure we're up and running. I was running. Hey, live now. What up, Kyle Robinson? First comment. Thank you, sir. This is going to be the most poorly prepared live stream ever. I don't even have any of my baits for the top 5 baits ready to go, but they're all pretty much sitting here on the deck of the boat, so we'll just figure it out. Let a few more gather up, a few more. Ryan Johnson, what's cracking, buddy? Yep, Kyle Robinson, you win the first comment award. You are the winner today. What up, Matt Martin? You guys want to shoot me a couple questions while we're kind of waiting on those people to get in here? Go ahead. Just a little bit of a lag on this streaming software that I got. I wish it didn't have that lag, but it does. So, while you guys are maybe coming up with some questions, what up, Jay Cobb? Michael Bowman. It's good to see all you guys back in here again. Go over a couple things while you guys are coming up with questions. You hope that I teach you about the banjo minnow. Well, Ryan Johnson, you're going to be sorely disappointed because I don't know nothing about the banjo minnow, dog. I might have to ask Rob. I seen that video Rob did, fishing with a banjo minnow. I'm gonna have to clown him a little bit. Look, man, when you go to private ponds, you can pretty much catch them on hot dog weenies if you want to. You know what? That should be me and Rob. The next time I get with Rob, we should go to a private pond and have a challenge. His banjo minnow versus my Oscar Myers. Y'all think that's? Let me know if y'all think that's a good idea for a challenge in the comments. What up, Soul Cruise? Alan Soul Cruise. All right. Hey, we can go ahead and talk about some baits. How about that? You want to talk about baits? Let's talk about baits. Baits. So here's the deal for this week on the top 5 baits. Man, 5 ain't enough because you can catch them so many different ways right now. And you can literally catch them 20 different ways. But we'll stick to 5. Since we did offshore structure fishing videos, I'll show you guys the baits that I was using for that and I'm still using for that portion of my day when I go out off the bank. There's my jig, my hybrid 3/4 ounce 6-inch lures structure jig right there. That's number 1. We're using that for this deep offshore structure. If you guys watching the videos this week, then y'all saw that. There's the baby brush hog, Carolina rig. Weight's way up there with the swivel. I actually broke my glass bead off this one the other day, so I don't have a glass bead. Normally I rig that where I have a glass bead between that swivel and that weight, but the glass bead got broken the other day. So, no glass bead. Anyway, 4/0 hook, baby brush hog, the bait that I'm using on my Carolina rig. I'm also using the ring fry and the hyper stick. Just kind of, whenever I've got, it's kind of weird when you're doing that deep water stuff because like you'll go and you'll see those fish on the graph and you know they're there, and so like I'll go out there and I'll go through that school of fish with that football jig, and I'll go through it with that Carolina rig, and sometimes I'll change that bait out and go from a brush hog to a ring fry. But I'll try several different baits. If I've seen them on the graph and I know they're there, I'll try several different techniques to get them to bite during the times when they're not really biting very good. And believe it or not, when we were shooting the one day I had to shoot the videos this week, the fish did not bite good. That was like the worst day of the week for it was the worst day of that whole stretch. So that's the way it goes when you pull that camera out. Those fish, they're camera shy sometimes. But hey, look here, Matt Martin. Matt Martin says he took my advice on the swim jigs and how to fish them, and caught him a 5+ donkey within 25 minutes at his weekly fishing spot. That's right. I ain't lying to you guys. I ain't making this stuff up. It works. Shout out to you, Matt Martin. Good job, brother. I'm glad that worked out for you, and thank you very much for letting me know that it did. I appreciate that. What up, Buzzy Grew? Buzzy Grew. Talk baits. All right, baits. Here we go. We're still talking baits. We're still talking baits. We're still talking baits. Holy cow. Just no preparation done for this at all. Hey, look. Y'all remember this guy, right? Talking about a swim jig? There it is. So that, I guess, is going to be my number 3 bait this week. And then my other 2 baits on the complete other side of the boat. But you guys have seen them. The LFT soft body frog and the Spro popping frog. So that's my top 5 baits. So I got frog, swim jig. That's 3 for shallow first thing in the morning. And then out deep. Man, if you go with a Carolina rig and a football jig right now, or that 3/4 ounce hybrid jig, just a structured deep water jig, a jig and a Carolina rig out deep will get you bit. Those frogs, that swim jig will get you bit up shallow. The 5 baits right there will absolutely keep your day active on Lake Fork right now. Baits. Jason Cobb. What's up, Brett Wren? Hey, man. Thanks for booking that trip last night. We'll get you back out there again. Brett Wren, this is going to be Brett's 3rd time coming with me. We're going to have a good time. J. Kyle, I have bad days, man. I have bad days sometimes. Hey, so you guys that follow my Facebook stuff, Instagram stuff, saw the announcement last night. Some of y'all may already know that I was doing 2 different jobs, doing the guiding and had a regular job. And, of course, everything's going on with my wife. So it just got to be too much. And, thanks to y'all, the people that are following the social media stuff, the people that are coming in and taking paid fishing trips with me. I've been getting so many phone calls for trips and all this. So I made the decision to go ahead and stop working at my regular job. And I am, as of the end of next week, as of next Friday, a week from tomorrow, I am a 100% full-time professional fisherman, nothing else, bringing money into the house but fishing. So it's a long-established dream of mine, and I'm just hoping and praying that I can do it. So y'all keep watching. I need y'all to watch now more than ever. I need you to tell all your buddies. Look, you told a couple of your buddies. I need you to tell all your buddies to watch the YouTube channel now. But yeah, so that's what's going on with me. I'm fixing to be doing nothing but fishing, but hey, that's good for y'all because look, I promise you, no matter how busy the guide business gets, I will not stop doing the YouTube stuff. And I also promise you that at the times when the guide business isn't that busy, I'm going to give you even more YouTube videos, even more instructional help, whatever I can do. Maybe just, some funny stuff, entertainment. We'll keep the fishing action coming on the Your Lake Fork Guide YouTube channel more than ever as we go into this summer. So. Matt Martin says he's yet to get a frog fish. He's ready to land one. Yeah, buddy. Rage-tail space. Somebody asked, Alan Solker asked, have I ever tried fishing a rage-tail space monkey? Yes, I've fished a rage-tail space monkey. They are very good baits. Very good baits. I'm a pretty big fan of all, like the rage-tail line. Like I like the rage-tail series. Do I recommend a casting jig over a football jig fishing deep on fork? No, not a regular one. Like just a regular, like a 3/4 ounce. Most of the time when you get 3/4 ounce to 1 ounce jigs, they're either going to be for punching grass or they're going to be a football jig. I don't recommend you fishing a grass jig out deep because the thing's going to lay over on its side. It's not really going to drag on the head the way a football jig would, and where it'll stand that crawl up and rock. That's the thing about a football jig, rocks side to side as you drag it, and it stands that crawl up as well. So that jig's coming through there just like this and rocking. That's the action of a football jig, and that's what draws a lot of bites. That one is actually a neat invention because it has a triangular head that's more weedless than a football jig, but the back end of the bottom, I'll show it to you. So this back end of the bottom, you see how wide that is? It's basically flat right there like a football jig is, but there's just a little bit of a bevel, just like a football jig, to where the back of that jig is just, just a little bit angled so that when you drag it, it'll stand up and rock. It's flat enough and wide enough that it stands up and it still rocks like a football jig. So it kind of accomplishes the same thing that a football jig does, but yet it's got the triangular head hence the name hybrid jig. It's kind of a cross of both, so I really like it. That was the first time I'd fished that jig. Was in the day that I shot the video this week, so that was pretty cool. I'm living your dream, Jacob. Yeah, buddy. Give me some subs. Everybody, give me some subs. Right, meow. Y'all send me some questions. We don't have very many questions tonight. Send more questions. More questiones. What's my preferred setup? Reel speed, rod power, and length for fishing jerk baits. 6'10", 7 foot, medium heavy. I want probably on fork, probably 15-pound fluorocarbon on fork, and or 15-pound or 12-pound even FHP, that Fluoro Hybrid Pro. I really like that line. I'm a big fan of it. But yeah, 6'10" to 7 foot, medium heavy type rod. I want some tip. You gotta have some tip for a jerk bait. You'll find I say that a lot with baits with treble hooks hanging off the bottom of them, that I want more tip on those. Hey, so we've got a deal here. Look, and I hate to be the guy. I'm not, I don't want to beg you for your dollars, but we've got a deal enabled on our chat now called Super Chat, where you guys can actually kick some money into the pot. Because look here, this YouTube stuff, I really like doing it, and I'm doing it, there's very, very little money at the level I'm at now, like no money basically, at the level that I'm doing it at as far as ad rates go. But hey man, this stuff, it costs money to go and do and keep the cameras operating and keep fresh memory cards and all that stuff. So not telling you to, I'm never going to not be your friend because you didn't. But if you guys ever feel like contributing to the goodness of the YouTube channel, if you want to kick some money in on the chat, every dollar that goes in through the Super Chat on these live streams will go directly into funding YouTube channel equipment, maybe some traveling trips that might be coming up here soon now that I may have a little bit more time on my hands. So if you guys want to be part of it and contribute to it, feel free to hit that box and throw a dollar in there too every once in a while. Jason Cobb, you're a diehard braid guy. If you fish a lot of shallow water vegetation and shallow dirty water, like I know you've told me before, then just stay with your braid. That fluorocarbon is great for what we have to use it for, but I like to fish a braid when I can get away with it. It's just hard to get away with it on fork a lot of times. Florida bass are sensitive. I don't know what it is. If anybody that lives in Florida is listening to this, could y'all please tell me what is going on with people from Florida and just things from Florida? Everything's in a grumpy mood. Y'all got more sunshine than anybody. Y'all should all be happy. Has the sun just fried your skin and fried your head? Is that what happened to the Florida bass? Because they are moody as all get out. Yeah, YouTube dropped the hammer on ad rates. They didn't drop the hammer on ad rates. They just quit selling as many ads. They had some big, corporate, liberal, stuff that I don't want to get into. We ain't getting into that on this channel. But, YouTube, all their content creators are in a bind right now as far as what they were making compared to what they are now. With me, I'm small enough, it didn't affect me too much. I'm not making enough money to matter off YouTube anyway, so. Some of my bucket list fishing destinations. Okay, where are some of my bucket list fishing destinations? I was just talking about this the other day with somebody. I can't remember who I was talking to it about. I want to go to Brazil, and I know we have peacock bass in Florida, but I want to go catch real peacock bass, like giant peacock bass. And I want to catch one Arapaima. It's this Brazilian fish that kind of looks like an alligator gar. That, man, he's all kinds of hopped up on Mountain Dew, Chip. Those fish are crazy fighters. They like to live under these big floating mats that look like giant versions of hyacinth, and all of that is all appealing to me. So I really want to go catch an Arapaima, and I want to catch peacock bass in Brazil. California Delta and Clear Lake, I definitely want to get out there at some point. Trying to think if there's any more. Oh, Japan. Yeah, I want to bass fish Japan, like Lake Biwa. I know it's not very good anymore. Like, it's just a giant lake, but hey, so is Fork. I'm used to that. I really want to go fish Lake Biwa and throw some really giant swim baits in Lake Biwa at the right time of year. Have I ever fished in Oklahoma? Yeah, I fished in Oklahoma. My uncle actually lives in Oklahoma, up in the Pryor area, and I fished a couple of lakes up there on that chain up there. And of course, did a lot of pond fishing with him on some private land, but that's about it for my Oklahoma. Oh, I fished Grand. Grand, Arbuckle. Well, no, I fished Arbuckle. 10-killer maybe. I don't know. I fished a couple of lakes in Oklahoma, but it's been a long time ago. That's for sure. Grand wasn't that long ago. Have I ever fished a swim bait like the Berkeley, where the weight is pre-molded in the bait? Yes, I have. Top hook swim baits is what you're talking about. Top hooks. Some are good. They're like every other swim bait. Some are good and some are bad. Top hook models are okay around here. They're not the best. Weedless and line through tend to be the two most popular around here. Top hook models are okay. But I don't really throw top hook models very much. Since we've got this weedless stuff, I pretty much stick to that. How's my schedule looking for mid-June? You're coming down there sometime in June and would like to get out on lake with you. Hey, because I just decided to go full-time yesterday, mid-June. In fact, right now, there's a schedule right here because I was booking some trips before we started. As of right now, Buzzy Groon, the 13th through the 16th is open. Pretty booked up on both sides of it for a few days. But June 13th or June 16th is available. So if you want one of those days, give me a call. Phone number's on all the videos. I'll go ahead and tell it to you. It's 903-519-1542. If you want to book one of those days, give me a call. Post front, what am I throwing away? This time of year, when we get post front, I almost ignore it. I just go fishing. The one thing that I do is I'll probably throw a little bit more moving baits, reaction-driven baits during the post front than I do, otherwise. They're just probably not going to... The stuff that they normally just bite, like you just flip up there with a jig or something, or maybe you flip up there with a weightless plastic and they bite, they usually don't bite the ad as good after a post front, so I'll stick to more of the moving baits. But this time of year, the water temp's getting up close to 80. When the water temp drops from 80 to 75, they don't care. That's a party to them. That just makes them feel even better. They feel a little bit funky because of the high pressure, but it's not enough to stop them biting. The fronts usually aren't hard enough. They're not, hard enough cold fronts to affect them right now. When would I throw a swim jig versus a chatterbait or spinnerbait? Heavier cover. Swim jig is designed, it does better in that heavier cover, that flooded vegetation, flooded bushes, stuff like that. That's when I'm throwing that swim jig, and that's what we've got going on right now. So if I had sparser cover, then I would go to a chatterbait or a swim bait, either one, whatever I wanted to throw. Matt Martin says, I feel like the trophy bass fishing that used to exist in Oklahoma is gone. I don't hear about any hype around our waters anymore except for stock ponds. Well, it comes and goes. It does, Fork isn't what it used to be, blah, 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 blah. But now, this year, Fork's fishing phenomenal. And it's not what it was in the 90s, but it's better than what it was 4 years ago. I can promise you that. But even 4 years ago, even though everybody was like, man, Fork sucks, it's hard, you can't catch any fish out there. And you couldn't hardly catch fish out on Fork. You couldn't catch numbers of fish. But if you stuck to your game plan and targeted trophy fish, they were still there. And that's probably some of what's going on in Oklahoma. There's probably some guys that are strictly trophy hunters that are still catching giants. It's just all the people just going out and fun fishing. They're not catching near as many fish, and they're not catching the big ones on accident. And so they talk bad about the fishing when in all reality, they just ain't paying enough attention and focusing on those big fish. And that's what you have to do to catch those real giants. I need to come to Alabama and fish Wilson Lake. Hey, I'm definitely at some point getting to Alabama. Gunnersville, Pickwick, Wilson. There is, what's that spotted bass lake y'all got over there with all them Coosa River spots in it? I'm going to that one too. I'm coming to Alabama someday. So whoever's in Alabama that don't like me, you better just hold your breath because I'm coming. What's the best way to find bass when you can't afford all the high dollar equipment? I'm assuming you're talking about like a big fancy boat and the electronics and all that. Man, I used to not have real fancy electronics. I've been there. I would mostly fish shallow. That's probably why I became such a passionate about being a shallow water fisherman. It's because I mostly fished shallow when I didn't have the nicer equipment and all that. The one thing that I did to help me just to find a depth was I made kind of a homemade depth finder. I used to have a plastic boat, no electronics, nothing, but I actually took like a 8 pound or 5 pound or 8 pound dumbbell. I think it's an 8 pounder, 8 pound dumbbell, and I tied a rope to that dumbbell, and I stretched that rope out across my yard, and I measured 1 foot increments, and I marked off every foot, and I put a piece of tape on it that had a number written on it on that mark. So I had a depth finder all the way up to 25 foot. And so I'd be in that plastic boat, and I'd drop that sucker down and let it go down, and boop, 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 and look at my number. Hey, I'm 18 foot deep. Roll it back up. The times when I fished deep were when I was, like right now, if you came to Fork and you heard everybody saying, well, hey, man, we're catching them in 20 foot on Main Lake points, blah, blah, blah. Well, I would take that plastic boat out there, mark off 20 foot with my homemade jerry rig depth finder, and then I'd tie up somewhere in that area so I knew I was fishing roughly the right depth in the, on a Main Lake point. Now, I couldn't see contour lines and all that, so I'm at a disadvantage. I was just having to play a guessing game on which point was good and which point wasn't. But, hey, that's the best you can do. Bottom line is, how do you find fish when you ain't got equipment? Is you go fishing and you fish harder. Just fish harder than everybody else. Stay out there more. Use it. Be on your toes at all times. Really pay attention to every single bite you get. Do all the same things that the guys at the very top level do now. It's just they have that equipment, and someday when you have that equipment, it'll make you that much better of an angler. So, probably contributed a lot to me. Taught me a lot fishing like that. So. Yeah, popping frog over regular one. Man, popping frog, to me, so when I say the Spro popping frog, that's just a hollow body frog. I very rarely throw the regular V-shaped hollow body frogs. That popping frog, to me, will do every single thing, every single action, every single motion that the regular frog will, plus it can throw water when I want it to. I just feel like it's more versatile. I feel like I can do everything. I can make that bait walk. I can make it do, I can do whatever I want to with that popping frog. So the Spro popping frog, it's the most versatile frog on the market. That's why I throw it more than any other one. Alan Soul Cruise, I got your text, buddy. It's been a crazy week with that decision that we made this week and everything else that's been going on. And just as soon as I get some time freed up, we will be talking about that. I did get your text. Jay Cobb says, shallow is where it's at. And that's what you do on your kayak. That's right. You have a dumbbell with a rope too. Jay Cobb, we're like long lost twin brothers, man. Okay, Donnie Martindale. Yeah, Donnie Martindale's asking about the buoys that I was throwing out when I was deep fishing on my videos this week. Yes, what I will do is as I graph and I'm zigzagging, I'm going across that point, I'm marking schools of fish. So when I decide which schools of fish which pods of fish that I want to actually target, I'll then pay close attention to the number of waypoint that's on that school. I will get my boat set up using my front graph. I will set my boat up facing into the wind so I can control the boat. I'll get my boat set up where I want to fish, like on the angle that I want to cast to that waypoint that's on my graph. So I'm looking at that graph, looking at those waypoints I want to fish, getting my boat, positioned. Once I've got my boat positioned and I'm ready to make that cast and I feel like I'm in the spot that I want to be in to target those fish, I take that buoy and I just go and throw it straight out beside me, 10, 15 feet, whatever, 20 feet. I just get that buoy right out to the side of me and I stay right around that buoy so I know, where I'm casting. And that way I know where my starting point is. I can look on my graph and see my waypoints to see where the fish were, and there's no confusion. Hope that helps. Hope that cleared that up. Let me know if you have any more questions on that. That's a good question. What's one piece of fishing equipment that is worth the money? Man, that is a relative question because some people have all of the money and some people have none of the money. You know, you can bass fish pretty cheap and be pretty good. But if you want to be top end, you want to be the best you can be, you're going to spend a lot of money. There's different ways to look at it. There's a lot of money to be wasted that is complete garbage. Like there's a lot of big swim baits and hard swim baits that are just glorified Christmas tree ornaments is about all they're good for. They're terrible. And you can waste $300-$400 on some of them. And they're junk. But there's some that are like I'm a big believer in one of them that costs $150 a bait. So that's a very tough question. One piece of fishing equipment that is worth the money. The graphs. It's real expensive, you know, thousands of dollars, but I would not want to be fishing without HDS, downscan, side imaging, Lowrance graphs. I had Humminbirds on my last boat. I'm not a big fan of Humminbird. I like Lowrance better. I know, it's a Chevy Ford deal, but yeah, some type of top-end graph, whatever you have confidence in, whichever one you like the most. Some type of downscan, side imaging, GPS, sonar, has to do all that. If it does all that, you got to have at least that. That's probably one of the most valuable tools on my boat, if not the most valuable tool. Spitting Wall is a good frog, Jacob. Hey, next year I will. Chad Seaworth asked, do I ever do any tournaments? The answer to that has been no this year. I've just been so busy with the guidance stuff. But now that I'm only fishing, I will start getting back into tournaments. I would anticipate me possibly fishing some, excuse me, my allergies are bad right now. I would anticipate me fishing some Texas Team Trail stuff next year. And most likely I'll be fishing some of the Costa Series stuff as well. So probably get into those two brackets next year. We'll see. That's a decision. I haven't thought it out yet. I haven't really thought about it, but I always knew that when I started full-time guiding, I would start fishing tournaments again a little bit. So we'll see kind of as I ease back into it what happens. Live feed on reading sonar and maps. It's very difficult to do. It's very difficult to have a strong enough signal on an East Texas lake to be able to live stream Ryan Johnson. That's tough to do, buddy. Do a video. You want to see a video on my tackle? You want to see a video on my tackle setup? Man, if my computer and phone wasn't sitting on top of the main compartment, I would open it up and show you why you don't want to see the video of my tackle setup. It literally looks like somebody just threw up a tackle store in that box. It's a mess. Hey, you're welcome. Jack Murphy says he wants to say thanks for the live streaming the seminars. We will continue to do that, and you're very welcome, Jack Murphy. I do not use a weighted hook on the Lake Fork Tackle Frog. I use a weightless 6/0 EWG. That is the hook I use on the Lake Fork Tackle Frog. Man, have we been talking for 30 minutes already? My goodness. All right, so somebody been asking about, let's see. There you go. Thank you, Michael Bowman. Appreciate that, bud. No problem, J.L. Hoffy. Somebody been asking about a full review on the old Limit rods. So I'm about to, when we get done with this live stream, I'm going to film and hopefully get it edited and everything ready to go tonight. I'm going to film you guys a full review on my full lineup of Limit rods. I will have those rods linked. Yep, I said linked. I have a link for Limit rods now that I will have posted in that video that's coming out tomorrow. So if you're interested in Limit rods, you want to see about Limit rods, I will have a little bit of a bass story on the background of how I started, how I ended up becoming a full-time fishing guide, which is what I just became. And I will do a full review on my full lineup of Limit rods and link those as well. So you guys be sure to watch for that tomorrow. Other than that, hey, Chad Seaworth, I will talk about that if I could only have 5 rods and reels. 5 rods, 5 lures year-round. Okay, See, Nate, I got to answer another question. Can't leave them hanging. Chadworth, if I can only have 5 rods, 5 lures. First one's going to be a 3/8 ounce chatterbait on a 7.2 medium heavy with 20 pound or 22 pound Flora Hobby Pro. That's my first thing that I'm keeping year round. My second thing is going to be a 610 medium heavy Limit 5 series rod. It's going to have 15 pound fluorocarbon. It's going to have a 5/0 EWG hook and a Smash Tech custom bait smash stick. It's just 5-inch stick bait like a Senko, but that Smash Tech one I really like. That's how many is that? Did I do 3 already? I did a chatterbait. I did a Senko. Did I do something? I may have missed something. Man. Okay, so right now we're chatterbait and smash stick. That's my first 2. My third one is going to be a 1/2 ounce flipping jig on a 7.4 heavy action with 22 pound FHP. My fourth one is going to be a frog. Yep, the Spro Poppin' Frog on a 7.4 heavy with 50 pound braid. And my fifth one is going to be a rod for my big baits. Swim bait rod. You know what? Nope, not going to do that. I love that swim jig so much, and it's so versatile that I'm going to go to a 7.2 medium heavy, 22 pound FHP, and a swim jig. So, swim jig, flipping jig. What was this one? I don't remember what this one was. Chatterbait, smash stick, flipping jig, swim jig, frog. Golly, I fish so shallow it's ridiculous. Like, I only throw in one somewhat deep bait. Like, I can fish that 1/2 ounce jig kind of deep in the winter. That's it. I'm a damn dirt dauber. All right, so there you go. That's my favorite 5 baits, I guess. It's not my best 5 option. That's my favorite 5. Jay Cobb's got his first tournament June 3rd. Hey, Jay Cobb. Hey, just shake them haters off, baby. Don't worry about it. I got plenty of them myself. Look, my philosophy on haters is if I got 10 haters today, I'd like to have 15 by tomorrow. Because when you got haters, that means that they're paying attention. That means you're doing something to get their attention. Haters are not a bad thing, bro. Don't worry about that. Yep, I know. Everybody likes to fish the way I do. You know why you like to fish the way I do? Because it's fun. That's the fun way to fish. I know I caught some offshore structure fish. Man, that sucks. Sitting out there in 30 foot of water, throwing into a freaking ocean, hoping that little digital thing's telling you the truth. It sucks. I know. It's boring as hell when they don't bite. At least when I'm fishing shallow, I'm like fighting grass off my bait or something. The reason we all like to fish that way is because it's fun. And all you deep water dudes are a bunch of nerds. Nerds that kick my butt in tournaments sometimes, but you nerds. That's funny. Well, hey, let's wrap that up. You guys watch for tomorrow's video. Full review on Limit Rods. A little bit of an East Texas bass story on me becoming a full-time guide. And other than that, I guess we'll see you guys next time right here on Your Lake Fork Guide. Thanks for watching, guys.